Hello, YouTube. This is the Galley La Podcast, and today we are going to be reviewing One Piece Manga Chapter 1154. I Can't Even Die. I am Akainu Fanboy. The other guy is Geboss. Please like and subscribe to you and have not. Leave your comments below and leave your thoughts on our review and also this chapter. So, we have the Amazon story again. Yeah, I just kind of want to skip it. Are you good with it?
I was just going to say, we still didn't get the thing with Zoro visiting Ryuma's grave. And it looks like Yamato's going to be doing that, maybe. Because isn't this where the grave was supposed to be? In Ringo?
Yes.
But
I believe so.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that.
Yep. Okay, so 63 years ago, we see Big Meme pop back up, and which I think slightly increases the potential of Big Mom coming back into the story.
Well,
we have
a lot of connections or references in this flashback to like all the emperors. But yeah, potentially, since Oda's bringing up again this whole thing with Elbaf, I could see her coming back in some way.
Yeah, totally. So, and obviously towards the end we get like a second indicator too that she will come back again too. So we come to Loki's great mom here, and she's basically like, yeah, stab his eyes out, and you see Loki just wanting to get love from his mom, which is just terrible and heartbreaking. And
the one thing I thought was funny is that he's literally just pushing through the wall.
Yeah.
Trying to get to her. But but besides that, it's really sad.
Yeah. And so I kind of thought that was interesting, and when we do see like these giants like trying to steal and doing things like that too, it's leading into more and more tension, and Harunen's gonna get brought back into it where he's like, hey, we gotta sacrifice you to break this curse, which makes me think, is this foreshadowing?
Maybe. I thought it was playing more into like the family vibes, because we get a family connection at the end of this chapter, and we get it kind of like Ace being kind of condemned for the sins of his father.
Yes.
So I think Oda's playing on that too, since he's brought it up before. But yeah, this is all. So I guess this is all taking place within the same year that Loki was born, which was 63 years ago. And I'm wondering if, because the narration says that internal giant struggles weren't unheard of, and that just made me think, well, maybe this is what Harald was kind of going against, this mentality of violence that he swayed into the other side. Because we do see like Harald comes in and saves Haruden and Ida, but we see that his connections with the outside world has paid off, because he saves them from the famine with all the support from the humans. So it is working, his diplomacy.
Yeah, no, it is working, and I do think like that is interesting how you're saying there's like so many family connections kind of going on here. And I guess like what I was saying just with the Haruna thing, like I'm wondering if he's gonna have to sacrifice himself to save Loki's life towards the end.
Yeah,
because I think it signifies the goodness of his mom, you know, and things like that too. And it would just kind of be like an ironic twist of fate type of thing.
Yeah, I mean we do get we're jumping ahead a little bit, but we do see Ida at that tavern that's on the coastline, like where we saw Shanks. And I was kind of thinking about this, because they say that I was like, okay, this is supposed to be like the land of the dead, but they says the coastline keeps this area separated so the beasts won't come near. That's I thought this was kind of a separate part of the island, but no, I guess this is just a safe area.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But I looked back, and it's a different giant who was in the Shanks part in the tavern, like when Colin was introduced. So, so I wonder if something's going to happen with Ida. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. I do think there are like a lot of interesting possibilities right there, and because like we do see like Queen Estrid, she dies, right? You know, and I
nothing
think
was lost.
nothing was lost, and now he's like, oh, Loki, my son. It's like kind of like, dude, you kind of neglected your son a bit, you know, during this whole time, you know, and now Loki's just like feels no love or like no compassion or anything like that too, and it does kind of give off like an interesting presence and aura among him with this, and then another blunder. He's like, Esther's older brother will be appointed as Loki's personal steward, and it's just like, it's just such bad fathering right here, you know, not in a malicious way, but just a negligent way, you know.
Well, it could be that he is the king, and he's off on all these diplomatic missions and whatnot, and it says that Esther's older brother was appointed as the steward, so maybe it was those like higher ups of the giant nobility who forced Harald to marry Estrid in the first place. Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
But I mean, we do see Harald say like, word reached me about Loki's birth and the recent famine, and then he came back right away. So I don't know. Maybe he's looking out for all of Elbaf, but I don't know. I do say that there is some form of neglect there.
Yeah. And so what I do kind of find interesting is when they talk about the reverie, obviously it connects towards the end of this chapter. And he said, my friend was one of the invited kings. He smuggled me as one of his guards. I couldn't ask any questions I wanted to without blowing my cover. So if that murder hadn't happened, I might have been exposed. So obviously I think that's like a reference to the admiral being murdered. I assume, right?
Yeah. And I was just going to say, this might lead into Harald's presence, because last chapter we saw that Shanks referenced that he saw him at a reverie. So maybe he was going in disguise as this guard for multiple reveries.
Okay, gotcha.
Kind of making him a known entity.
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
Yeah. And
we hear about a rival podcast, the Galley La Warhammer podcast. You know? So I was laughing pretty hard at that one, actually. Yeah, so I guess there's this new ship crew, and they did travel far and wide, but they were all captured, and so it seemed they were captured by the world government. Which makes you think if they are still alive to this day.
Potentially. Does it say how? It says that Harald thought that they were myths, so maybe they were so ancient. Because how old is Jarl? Is he like 400 something years old?
Let's see.
I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, I'll look it up right now.
But yeah, so he might know more about this, and they could potentially live that long. But I did read one thing, because people were.
He's 400 to 8.
Okay, yeah, I thought it was around that, but I was reading something, and people were making the connection that they could potentially, if they were like ancient, they could have something to do with the ancient weapons, because we have that connection with Galley La, and they have the blueprint for Pluton.
Yes.
So maybe they had something to do with that.
And we still haven't really seen Uranus yet either.
That's true, yeah.
So that could be a potential what's happening right here too. And so, and then when they kind of talk about that there's I also heard a story about a frozen army of giants somewhere. It seems our people are regarded as enemies of the larger world.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, and it's just like, okay, you're just gonna casually throw that in there too. Like, what's the potential of that happening?
Well, people were pointing this out too. I had completely forgotten about this. We saw those frozen, or potentially those frozen giants in Punk Hazard. Do you remember that?
No, I actually don't.
I know. They showed a picture. I was like, oh yeah, I vaguely remember that. It was like when Chopper was going through looking around, and they came across like a whole vault of frozen giants. So, and they were all in prisoner uniforms.
Okay, so, gotcha. And okay, gotcha.
Potentially, they could be frozen because of that. And then it was a Reddit post that I was reading, and they also pointed out that Emu is using like freezing technology when he went into the vault with the straw hat. So there's something potentially here.
Yeah, so the world government could have just captured them as well.
Yeah, or it could have just been experiments that Caesar was doing. So,
yeah. Well, was Caesar wouldn't be alive at this time, though, right?
No, but I mean, he had access to them on Punk Hazard. So
okay.
So maybe the government was supplying him with frozen giants for something. Because he was doing gigantification. Was he doing that for the government or for Doflamingo or Big Mom? I forget. He had his hands in everything.
Yeah. I
need to revisit Punk Hazard.
Yeah, no, that one's gonna have a lot of connections because he did work for the government in some capacity at some point, sure. So he's getting taunted more and more by his steward, and so then we get to 48 years before the present day, and the nation started to stand together in like a more unified identity and things like that too. And you see the humans like King Harald and everything, and then Loki shows up with all of his animal crew, and they start going crazy, destroying everything. And Haruden, you start to see this tension like build up between him very quickly, and just saying like, you're not supposed to be doing that. And he beats the crap out of Haruden, and we just start to see more and more like he's like angry, he's lashing out, but he's just so emotionally like broken and everything like that too.
Yeah, and Haruden does say the same thing that Ida said to Harald. Don't be cocky just because you're big. So it's showing that Ida's kind of rubbing off on him, and maybe if Loki was raised properly, he would be nicer, because like the whole thing said earlier, like he doesn't have a shred of love in him. He'd give it up on love. And I think potentially that could be a final like what's it called, like a coda to this story. Like he accepts Haruden as his brother.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I think that's, and the sacrifice element can be brought into that as well. And we'll have to see how that happens, but it's looking more and more Loki's just a completely good guy who's misunderstood, who's just a victim of circumstances, basically. Very, very similar to Odin.
Your favorite character type.
But he hasn't lived up to the name at all, where there's no deceit at all from what we've seen in this chapter. The only deceiving is that he's really like a good guy who's hurt, and he's deceiving everybody like that, but it's not in a mischievous way at all. So so I guess you just want to go into the last section right here.
Yeah, I mean, we see Loki pulling a Kaido before Kaido, which I mean, this could potentially relate to something to do with Kaido's invulnerability. Maybe he has like ancient giant blood that made him so durable.
Yeah. Yeah, because we don't really see Kaido with rocks or anyone like here.
Well, this was
So,
what, like 48 or 50? I'm trying to remember. 48 years ago. So maybe Kaido was alive at this time. I have to look it up.
and the Big Mom incident, they don't really get... The Big Mom incident was 63 years ago.
Yes.
So she would have been older.
Yeah, I think Kaido might have been alive at this time.
Yeah. So, I mean, that detail flashback, right? Oh,
Yeah.
oh wait, this is gonna put the rest.
Oh,
the debate.
Yeah, Kaido's 59.
Okay. So yeah, he would be alive at this point. So this is gonna put the debate right here. We're about to get the whole rocks. I mean, more of the rocks flashback. Maybe the whole of it. Who knows? And if Kaido's flashback isn't like fleshed out even more, then more L's for the people who kept on justifying Wano by saying, "Oh, Kaido's flashback isn't bad because it's going to be filled in later."
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we could get just this introduction to Rocks here and then have his full flashback later, or I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, that's just terrible logic in itself because Big Mom had a really good flashback and they didn't have to go through the whole Rocks thing to accomplish it. So I thought that was always terrible logic. So now, obviously, looks a lot like Blackbeard, like almost a spitting image. And we see Whitebeard, Shiki, and Stussy, more or less. And so the big hullabaloo is he single-handedly killed a Navy HQ admiral and vanished without a trace. So one is the confirmation that the admiral system was still around back then. So this is the first time we've ever heard an admiral reference this far back, because I forget how many years did this get referenced back at the start when this first started. Was this like I don't know, was it?
I'm not sure.
Flashback? Yeah.
But
okay, so
I once One Piece is over, I want to see a whole timeline of everything. I think that would be
like
great.
When the Admiral system set up, when the Warlord system set up, Yonko system.
Yeah.
Now, as a fanboy of an Admiral, so I guess like to give my defense in the whole Yonko versus Admiral debate, and I think people are making a point that Oda does care about power scaling because he makes this point right here. I'm just gonna simply say I see Zebek as more than a Yonko at this point. And the reason why I'm saying that is because none of the other Yonko remotely had a feat like this, and Oda specifically saved this feat just for Zebek. So as a result, he is kind of like how the fleet admirals are a step beyond the admirals. I kind of see Zebek as a step beyond as the Yonko, basically.
I don't know.
And that would kind of be.
I just want to say we don't know the caliber of the admirals back then.
No, that's a part of. That's a good point too, because I think like when people do debate admiral versus Yonko, it's like the admirals right now versus the Yonko right now. You know, because theoretically it could have been. I mean, it would be funny if there was an admiral, like a buggy admiral, basically. You know, I'm not gonna. I don't think that's the case because I think Zebek has very high caliber final villain vibes right here. You know, I do think Emu stocks did go down with this chapter, just like the presence, because this is like the best feat in the verse. If the admiral was actually a strong admiral. Like, this is the best feat that's ever been accomplished by a character in the verse.
I mean, you could say the same about Ace, though, because Ace single-handedly took down a warlord by himself.
Yeah, warlords, though, we do know, like, the power scaling so fluctuates like crazy.
I know.
Warlord system.
I know, but you can argue that with the admirals, too. But, I mean, so are you saying that potentially Rocks could still be alive at this point? Like final villain thing, or are you equating that to Blackbeard?
Equating it to Blackbeard.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. So because I think there's like a good understanding where Luffy's going to supersede Roger, Kobe's going to supersede Garp, and I think Blackbeard's going to supersede Sebek, basically. So Zoro, the Rayleigh, Scopper, Sanji, etc.
Yeah. So, just speaking about that though, I did find it interesting that Oda just flat out states that he's the father of Blackbeard here, like in brackets. And like all the things you listed was people's like inheriting kind of the mantle from a person that they're not related to. So Rox being
That's a good point.
Rox being like Blackbeard's father is kind of interesting because we always kind of theorized that, but just to get confirmation like that in his first appearance here is like, because I think it would have been interesting if it was more like a will thing, like Blackbeard's doing like in the spirit of Zebek, kind of like Kobe and Garp and everything.
So is this like forced upon Blackbeard by his genetics or his lineage, while the others are more free to do what they want to do? And so, in that way, he's kind of like a fake T, in that sense. You know, like he's like an imposter, because and this is more of speculation, but Blackbeard isn't voluntarily accepting what he wants to do in a way, and I feel like this is going to be more like Zebek's coercing this upon him. I know people go so far as to say he's still part of Blackbeard's body, you know?
Yeah, I've heard that theory too.
Yeah, like that first villain from the Harry Potter movie, I guess.
Yeah.
I do think like there is a possibility for that, which explains why his body doesn't detonate, you know, with having multiple fruits, you know? So that's just kind of how I view this right here. I think Van Auger's words to Saturn about taking the throne, I think it's a lot more powerful because we kind of see Zebek going for that, you know, and causing a ruckus, you know. Like Zebek was probably close to the throne, or who knows, maybe he even sat on the throne, which caused the Admiral to attack him, you know.
Yeah.
So a lot more likely.
Yeah, there's a lot here that's like, okay, how did he get to Mary-Joie, fight an admiral, vanish without a trace, like at the reverie of everything? Like we kind of saw the revolutionaries do that, but the revolutionaries seem a lot more stealth oriented compared to Zebek, who just seems like he doesn't care. He would just go in, like swinging.
Yeah, and the admirals were like on the side of, well, Fujitora was on the side of the revolutionaries, you know. While this is like, and they didn't get a hit on the admirals. And so I do think this really puts into question this Emu as the final villain, basically, you know. It's definitely, I think, more of an asterisk right there. So I will say though, like, just kind of going back to the power scaling thing, I know some people say he's a rookie and he's not even a full-fledged Yonko. It's like, okay, no, he's like at that full-fledged Yonko power. Like, okay, you're not going to be in a rookie taking down an admiral, and then you're just going to keep on growing like substantially in power by like multiple levels, you know, because then you're just insanely freaking busted, you know, at that point.
From what we see in the chapter, like we see him I assume that it's Zebek. He's clearly just like cutting a mountain, like in the background with Loki here. It's like, I know people downplay the Nostro feat at Egghead, him cutting it in half, but like no, that's powerful.
It is,
and he's just doing this like nothing. So Rox is definitely up there in terms of strength, and this isn't even him like at his prime, or he's probably in his prime, but like from what I see, like we only see Whitebeard, Shiki, and Stussy, and potentially like this isn't like the full strength of his crew either, so he potentially get stronger, because it was one thing, I think it was the previous chapter, no, 2 chapters ago, when Loki was saying that the government took down Rox, or that's what they said. So it'll be interesting to see if we do get to see potentially what happened with Rox here. I'm not sure.
The government took down rocks. Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, because we did see the flashbacks with Kaido when he got messed up, where you see Garp and Roger hitting him. You know. So I will say, like, I think like what makes him like a distinct in kind though is like when we saw Whitebeard strike the Marineford, we're like his like one of his like signature feats was he's one-shotty vice admirals, you know. But he never like okay with Akainu, but you know like a lot of asterisks right there and everything. But he hurts Akainu pretty bad, but Akainu gets back up and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, but also Whitebeard was actively dying.
Yeah, well, because of Akainu. But you know, so like
no, he had his whole heart thing going on. He couldn't use conquerors very well.
Sure. But I'm just trying to articulate like with Kaido and Big Mom. Big Mom's best feat was like what, like taking out Queen, maybe, and then Kaido's best feat was like one shot in a Gear 4 Luffy that beat Katakuri. Quote unquote beat Katakuri. You know, you don't really like. While this feat is reserved to him, and that's kind of why I like put him in a different category from the other Yonko we've seen so far, because none of them remotely had a defeating someone 1v1 in that caliber. Really, the only person we've seen 1v1 defeat an admiral is Akainu so far, aside from Zebek.
Yeah, and it took 10 days.
Yeah. Because they're different, bro. Different to caliber, you know, so... and obviously we don't know like how long the fight went for and all that stuff and how beat up he got, etc. And also like just I guess I've never held the position that there aren't Yonko that can defeat admirals and that there are, you know, like I think there are admirals that can beat Yonkos and Yonkos that can beat admirals. Like I don't think like the argument was ever like the admirals were completely, you know, univocally stronger than the Yonkos in every way, shape, or form. So I don't know, it's just kind of like a weird argument to make, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know like when the Yonko system was like recognized. There being like emperors of the sea or whatever. So, I mean, he could be at that caliber without having the title, you know?
Yeah, or even like breaking beyond it for all we know, because like it's, I think it's fair to say like a young Whitebeard here could defeat a Cracker, and from Big Mom's crew, right?
Yeah.
Or like a Shiki could take out a Queen from Kaido's crew, you know, like they're not near Yonko level, but I'd say like this crew is better than like all of the like right hands of the Yonko crews, basically, in the present day.
Well, yeah, because they went off and formed all their own powerful crews.
So that's why I say like Zebek would be a difference in kind in terms of Yonko, because all those first mates are basically borderline Yonko level already, you know? Maybe with the exception of Kaido because he's so young, you know? But I think Whitebeard and Shiki are basically near prime already, you know? So yeah, so I don't know, it'd be kind of curious like to see how this goes on. And I think what's probably going to be interesting is that the admiral being taken out here will probably be filled by Sengoku's spot. By Sengoku, if I had to guess.
Maybe
at this point in the story.
I don't know. Oda will probably reference it in SBS at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just like remotely, at the best of my abilities, trying to like reference all this stuff going on. I don't know how Oda keeps it straight himself, you know. So
he probably it's probably like that one episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia with Charlie and the board with all the strings connecting each other, looking for Pepe Sylvia.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And so actually, the last point I will make on this though, do you think there's a shot where? Because like remember I was saying this over and over again with like Luffy versus Kizaru, where Oda's not going to give us a clear answer. He's just going to put an asterisk by the fight right there, basically to show like we're not sure like who's going to beat who kind of thing, you know, like not like a clear W, if you will. And then I'm wondering if what I hear is like, do you think he's going to give like a big W to like Garp or Sengoku, basically, to kind of balance this out, basically? Because like Oda likes to do that. He likes to keep these arguments going, whether it's Zoro versus Sanji and Admirals versus Yonko. So do you think like that's a possibility, like in the upcoming flashback, if we stay with Rocks, like we see Garp or Sengoku do some crazy crap, basically?
Maybe. So let's see. Garp right now is 78. So 48 years ago he would be like 30. So yeah, he would probably be in like his prime at this point. So
Same
potentially we could see that, yeah. And then I think God Valley's not that far away from this in terms of like year-wise. Again, I want to see a whole timeline of stuff.
we need the timeline.
Yeah.
So we could just like print it out and have it, but you know,
exactly,
in the background while we're like reading the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think, I don't know, it would be kind of funny if like Garp like took out Whitebeard 1v1. You know?
Oh, I don't know if they would ever do that.
I did see, but like that'd be crazy though. You know, like that would be. And then like Sengoku takes out Shiki, but I guess they both took out Shiki in the episode 0 episode.
Yeah, so everyone would be turning into that one scene from the fan letter special where they're all debating on who would win and who's the strongest. And
yeah, I think eventually, I don't know. Do you think Oda's actually going to show us the whole battle
of God Valley?
Yeah.
Eventually, I feel either that or the anime is going to expand on it, or I don't know.
They did it for the Kuma one.
Well, yeah, but I think that's because it was focusing on Kuma. Because there's stuff even there that we haven't answered. Because it's like, oh, Kuma rescued 500 people. How?
Yeah.
So, potentially we could get. People have been wanting like a Rocks movie. And I feel that would kind of deflate some of the stuff, because if potentially Rocks is somehow related to the big bad, or like the final villain thing, like if these theories with Blackbeard have been true or not, we could potentially, it would be weird to have all this information in a movie, you know? So,
yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
So I think we'll probably get it in story, but maybe the anime will flesh it out at some point.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. Do you just think it's gonna be right now?
Well, it seems to be focusing on Loki and the giants and everything, so I don't think so, unless they're somehow related to God Valley.
Yeah. Gotcha.
But I mean, we could potentially hear the aftermath of it. Like, I mean, I assume next chapter we're going to get to see how Loki came to idolize Rocks. And we could potentially see, like, him getting angry, hearing about how the government took him down at the end of, or at God Valley, you know?
Yeah.
So I think we'll hear about it from Loki's perspective.
Yeah. Well, Garp took out Whitebeard. Did you hear about that? He should be an admiral now.
We know he was there. We need Bogard feats.
Yeah. Bogard. Let's see. He took out what was it? Captain John. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Cool. All right. Any thoughts?
I want to see what Rox is going to talk to Herald about. I have no idea why he wants to talk with him, but I mean, we'll see it next episode or next chapter, so we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, please like and subscribe, everyone. Leave your comments below and your thoughts on the chapter, thoughts on our review, and we'll see you all soon. Peace.
See ya.